There's a buzz rippling across the combat sports and wrestling world as fresh developments signal major shifts behind the scenes. Kicking things off, the founder and president of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, David Feldman, recently confirmed a surprising meeting with former WWE chairman Vince McMahon. Feldman revealed that McMahon had expressed a serious interest in buying a controlling stake in BKFC. According to Feldman, McMahon was highly respectful and professional throughout the conversation and genuinely committed to getting back into the promotional game, this time outside of traditional pro wrestling. However, despite the gravity of the offer, Feldman ultimately declined. He stated that while he admired McMahon's passion and approach, the timing just wasn't ideal, and he wasn't yet ready to relinquish full creative control of his company. Feldman added that if he were in McMahon's shoes, he too would want creative power, praising Vince for his genuine enthusiasm and seriousness about the deal. This revelation arrives on the heels of McMahon launching his own new venture, an investment firm called 14th NI, a clear sign that he's preparing for a resurgence in the entertainment and sports space. As speculation continues to swirl, some even believe McMahon could be eyeing a dramatic return to his roots by attempting to repurchase WWE. Former WWE personality Jonathan Coachman chimed in, calling it absurd to think McMahon lacks the funds or influence to make that happen. Whether it's BKFC or WWE, Vince's next big move is being watched with great interest. The question remains, should McMahon re-enter the spotlight in combat sports, or is it finally time for him to step back and let the new generation take over? Meanwhile, panic briefly struck the wrestling world when alarming rumors circulated suggesting that wrestling legend Hulk Hogan was on his deathbed following complications related to a recent neck surgery. Thankfully, these dire reports have since been debunked. While it's true that Hogan was recently hospitalized and continues to deal with long-standing issues related to his neck and back, credible sources such as TMC Sports confirmed that his life is not currently in danger. Hogan is said to be recovering well and even mobile during this latest bout of treatment. However, concerns were initially sparked by Bubba the Love Sponge, who claimed that Hogan's condition was extremely grave, even going as far as saying his family was called in to say their goodbyes. Bubba suggested that Hogan may have suffered heart-related complications tied to the recent surgery and criticized the wrestling icon for making a public appearance to promote a league just days after undergoing the procedure. He also claimed Hogan's camp minimized the seriousness of the surgery, framing it as minor, when it was anything but. Despite Bubba's claims, other reports conflict with his version of events, indicating the surgery was not as life-threatening as he implied. Regardless, it's evident that Hogan is managing health issues that are serious, even if not life-threatening, but fans can take solace in the fact that he is not currently in critical condition. On the injury front, former WWE superstar Elijah may also be facing a significant setback following his appearance on NXT in a six-man tag team match. During the bout, Elijah attempted The Undertaker's iconic old-school move but appeared to land awkwardly, resulting in visible discomfort and the possible injury to his left arm. He was seen favoring the limb for the rest of the match, raising concerns about his immediate wrestling future, especially given his growing role in TNA and involvement in upcoming events. Brian Alvarez noted the moment on social media, highlighting that Elijah avoided using his arm entirely after the mishap. While no official statement has been released, the potential injury arrives at a crucial time as Elijah is prominently featured in TNA's promotional efforts for upcoming tapings in Pittsburgh. He's also booked for Impact's next major show in a main event tag match, and any extended time off could derail his current momentum. Behind WWE's curtain, creative tension might be brewing between Triple H and The Rock. Jonathan Coachman, a former WWE announcer, hinted at this strained relationship during a recent podcast appearance. According to Coachman, Triple H is growing increasingly irritated with The Rock's limited involvement in WWE. Despite being a board member of TKO Group Holdings and reportedly making over $45 million, The Rock has made only a handful of appearances, his last being at Elimination Chamber 2025 when he briefly aligned with John Cena. Following that, he vanished from programming entirely. Cena, meanwhile, has since become the undisputed WWE champion, and The Rock has not been mentioned again in storylines. The backstage frustration is compounded by the fact that WWE had significant creative plans involving The Rock, Cena, and Cody Rhodes. Unfortunately, The Rock's sudden unavailability forced repeated rewrites and changes, creating setbacks for Triple H and his team. Many believe that the competitive tension between Triple H and The Rock, dating back to their in-ring rivalry during the Attitude Era, hasn't entirely gone away. The situation is further complicated by The Rock's occasional involvement in creative decision-making, despite being absent from actual programming. That level of inconsistency reportedly makes things even more difficult for Triple H, who's tasked with keeping storylines coherent and impactful. Recent promos from CM Punk have poured gasoline on the fire. Punk has taken direct shots at The Rock on Raw, mocking his mannerisms and calling him a fraud who no longer cares about wrestling. These comments have fueled speculation that The Rock might return to confront Punk, possibly at Night of Champions, where Punk faces Cena. If Cena turns heel to retain his title, The Rock could return to exact revenge for Punk's insults, setting up a blockbuster feud. Meanwhile, frustration also boiled over for the faction Gallus, whose members Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang were all released from WWE earlier this year. Joe Coffey recently revealed that there had been serious discussions about bringing the trio to the main roster and pairing them with fellow Scotsman Drew McIntyre. These plans, which were considered during Survivor Series and Royal Rumble seasons, consistently fell through at the last minute. The repeated cancellations left the group disheartened and confused about their place in WWE's future. McIntyre himself is currently recovering from injuries and hasn't wrestled since a recent steel cage match against Damian Priest. Unfortunately, by the time he returns, Gallus will no longer be by his side, as they're no longer with the company. Elsewhere in NXT, Jordynne Grace found herself at the center of controversy when WWE changed her entrance music. The original track, which she had used during her TNA and early NXT run, was replaced by a new version due to WWE's strict policy of owning all entrance themes. Grace owned the rights to her original theme, and WWE wasn't willing to make exceptions. Another factor that played into the change was that her siren-filled song clashed with Braun Breaker's entrance, which also features sirens as a nod to his uncle, Scott Steiner. Fans were vocal in their disapproval, and Grace took to social media to acknowledge the backlash while asking supporters to adapt to the change. Although notable music producers like Metro Boomin have shown interest to the Shield as too.